Do you ever wonder where we get the names for our products? Well, we can tell you about one right now.
One of our designers, Susan Cobb,
right,
is the inspiration for this new line called Simply Susan.
Right. Susan wanted a look that was kind of Zentangle-ish, so I hope that makes sense to you. And she also chose the color palette.
So we have a whole line of products now with Simply Susan, and you're just going to love the colors.
Want to see more? Come play with us. Well, we're going to begin with the papers because that's always the basis.
And these are beautiful papers. As you can see, the colors range. And here with the first set, they are 12, as in all of our paper packs, and they are double-sided, so you're going to get 2 of each design. This first one is this border design, this beautiful floral.
And it's kind of the basis for everything in this whole collection is this artwork.
Right. This is the other side of that paper, so you can see together you have the 2 border papers.
And to play a little game with this, you can put them like so. I always like to do some turning because I think sometimes we can get into a rut. Maybe I'm speaking just for myself, but you know, there's some fun things that you can do as, you know, if you just take the time, to kind of play with it.
So that's great for scrapbooking. You can also cut out the artwork and use that separately.
Yeah. So then we've got, as you said, 12 papers. Now you've laid these out
front to back. Okay. So we've got first this beautiful zigzag, which is going to pull in all of the different colors of the collection. And here's that Zentangle look we were talking about. So on the other side of this, you get this purple color.
So whenever there's one side that is kind of prominent, the back side is going to be a more tone-on-tone, just so that they do mix nicely.
Right. The next one is this teal look with that floral tone-on-tone design. And on the other side of that one, you get this gray little texture pattern.
Don't look at the flowers yet.
So this is a great one to do some journaling on, lighter colors for matting.
And here's another bold pattern. I love it in the purple and the green on the back of it. And even though this is a solid green, there is some texture in the artwork, and that always just makes it a bit more fun, I think.
And you'll see in some of the projects, these are great to cut out too, so you can cut out the individual flowers.
Okay. The dot is really a bold statement, and you'll see it used very fun ways. And then this teeny, teeny, tiny, and you have to do that with your voice, herringbone in the teal. And then we have it again.
And then we have it in an olive color, and on it, so that pattern again, very teeny, 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 tiny.
Thank you.
And on the black is this, on the back is this, it's almost a black, but it's a texture, so it's sort of a dark gray almost.
Kind of a charcoal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, because this is all hot off the press, you know that on the packaging, you're going to get scrapbook page ideas, you're going to get card ideas, and then on the back, you're going to get even more. But we're going to show you those. Then you'll also see some of the coordinating elements, but we're going to show you those too.
Right. So, and the ribbons.
And the ribbons. There are 12 ribbons in this package. They are 36 inches each. Thank you. I like it on the paper too. And what I love, Creative Imaginations does the ribbons for us, and I love the fact that they're all unique, but they blend so beautifully with the paper.
Right.
So swirl, we've got this fun, we've got the mesh, and that kind of curls at the end. It's a nice little bonus. We have these little bows on, this is a wire. We have the black vine, which is very interesting to use.
That's great to cut apart too, and use like little pieces at a time.
So just picot edge, stitch, 1/8 of an inch grosgrain, and then this
lilac. That wide one.
Right. So again, 12 of the ribbons.
And we also have Simply Susan 3D paper toll die cuts. Now you get 2 sheets, and they're going to have different artwork on each of those sheets. And since they're 3D, you're going to stack them on top of each other and
scoot them over a little bit.
And they're each numbered so that you have a whole set that will go together. And we'll show you a little bit of how that works.
Right, just giving you a close-up view of all of those. And then there is
that's that soar on there. It's just great with those butterflies.
Birds of a feather, and this is the foil paper toll. Now, this is just very uniquely made, and they are 2 die cut, and they're numbered numbered so that like that peacock is going to be number 1. It's going to get glued down flat. Then number 2 is going to get foam taped. And you're going to demonstrate that. But enough about this. We need to get into projects.
Let's get into it.
We're going to start with scrapbook pages. And I think this is really a nice way, a very simple way of using the papers. And it's kind of nice to see that.
Right. And here we have some of the die cuts popped out or paper toll.
It's getting close to see that.
Popped out and just popped right on top of the border artwork.
Right. And as I lift this, you can see, so it's just matching the design.
Right. I like the idea of putting the ribbon behind the paper toll, kind of peeking out the edges.
And how nice that it perfectly matches the paper. That's another paper toll.
Right. Here's the 3D paper toll here, and it's put on top of one of our stylish sticks.
Right.
It's really cute. It's like a butterfly lollipop.
Now, let's talk about dimension. The paper toll is going to add about a 1/16 of an inch of height, so pretty flat. If the sticks, if you don't want it this high, which is probably about 1/4 of an inch, you can simply just flatten it. So you have your choice.
Fit in your scrapbooking better that way if you like. And you can flatten those by running them through a die cutting machine.
Right.
Or using a bone folder.
Exactly. And this is just a small thing, but I like these 2 ribbons being layered because you get the sheer quality on top of the crate.
It adds to it, and just a little tiny touch right up in the corner. This is such a nice layout.
This is the companion page, and so you can see she's chosen to do them at opposite corners, and done a nice little job right here with doing some layering. Pretty simple, but very effective.
Right, and the colors from the paper pack are they offset very nice for matting. It's a great contrasting look.
Okay, and she's done a nice job too on matting this. So some nice simple touches, and this is a new designer for us.
This is Lorian Taylor, one of our new designers.
And this is the test that she had to do to get hired. So welcome.
And we said yes.
We said yes. Now we'll go into a page that Susan did. So she's done a bit more with using the paper. As you can see, 2 photos, but she's incorporated the paper toll beautifully. So as we get in, you can see that she too wanted something dramatic next to the butterfly, so she chose the paper.
So here's the paper toll, and look, all of the different strips. So you've got layered, like 1, 2, 3, 4 different pieces of the paper peeking out there.
And actually, with this one, this is the back side, so it's just folded over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, rather than cutting those strips, you can just fold them over on both of those.
The advantage of double-sided paper.
And up here, I love how this kind of nestles and leads your eye into the photo. I think that works beautifully.
And the artwork down in the corner is just left as is. It's a automatic focal for your page.
And then just one bow, just beautifully done.
That nice wide crepe.
Now this is the companion page, so we'll back up a little bit, and so we can see them together. Susan elected to put these both at the bottom, so that's kind of nice to see that in action.
Right.
Here are some more of the paper toll. As you can see, the butterfly leaning in, leading your eye into the photo. More of the just folding over the paper.
Folding over the paper, in addition of some of the ribbons underneath and on the corners. I love over here that here's the, whoops, that one's kind of moved a little bit. The stylish sticks with these bottle caps on top of them, these flattened bottle caps.
Let me bring those in. So here's the stylish sticks. Now they come in flower, they come in the stripe, and the flattened bottle caps. We've really had fun using these together.
Lots of different ways to use them. It's fun figuring out ways to use them.
It is. Now these bottle caps are printed with a dot pattern and beautifully fitting the
paper toll.
Yes.
It's just foam taped on top of there. And there are some jewel dazzles on there. I think the teal and the black were both used.
How fun. Now in this case, because Susan wanted to leave the sticks rounded, she put foam tape underneath the flattened bottle cap.
Right.
So you can see that. Again, if you didn't want that, you can flatten them, as you said. A little bit of ribbon down there. Okay, and as you said, jewel dazzles all over that artwork.
And they're easy to place. There's lots of little points to sort of lead your eye right to that.
This is a really fun, unique layout. And I think you did this, didn't you?
I did.
Okay. Let me show the double page spread. Do I have them in the right order?
Yes.
Okay. I just thought this was quite brilliant myself. To take that stripe and place it horizontally, and then to do the blue, the teal, and have that in strips going vertically, I just thought was such a fun way.
Thanks. One of the reasons I did that is because when you look at those chevrons going back and forth, there's a lot going on, and you don't want them to overwhelm your pictures. So I thought that would just sort of break it up, and you could really see the different pattern of paper as well.
And I thought it was brilliant that you put the photos along the bottom. And this is about rock climbing, and it looks to me like mountains along the bottom.
Oh, sure, that's a good point. I do personally love this layout. I love that tough is beautiful. It's just kind of a beautiful look with a tough woman doing mountain climbing.
Let's get in close to see what you've done up here.
So here is one of the strip of paper that you see in the back is actually rolled over at the top. And how I did that, and an easy way to do that, is to take a piece of stylish sticks, cut it to fit the width of that paper. I would just put some glue, a glue stick, or even ultra tape up here at the top, stick it on there. Then I would roll it down over the top of it like that. And then I would put a little more glue or another piece of ultra tape right there and stick it on.
Okay.
And it's a banner.
Actually, I love using the double-sided paper. So many times we just take advantage of 12 designs and don't really turn it over. But I think that's great. Okay. And
so that's up at the top, and then you've got this sort of ribbon banner. But I want to show you what I did with the paper towel. Something else you can do when you're layering it is I layered a bow in between one or two of the butterfly elements.
Okay, so just adding more. There's another of the flattened bottle caps, this time in purple. The other thing I like is that, okay, we're talking about tough is beautiful, but you know, we still added a bow. So I think
it's beautiful.
She doesn't lose her femininity in
Not
this.
at all.
So just giving you a close-up. All of the photos are very simply matted on white, and they're all black and white, partly, I'm sure, because there's so much color in the papers.
Right.
And just adding, I think the butterfly is a lovely touch. And then going to the companion page, you've done the same thing at the same location with that rolled top.
Right. The journaling right there on the banner, so that it's filling up that space.
And then we're going down here, more paper towel as she's hanging by her fingertips. And more. Now, with this, you mentioned the soar, but on that sheet, there's also a blank one in case you wanted to put the date or the person's name or a message. Yeah. And then I love that the largest photo is her at the top. Very fun.
I also took the time to sand the edges of the paper towel. So if you want a little bit more of a kind of a roughened edges look. Yeah.
Okay. Now up here also, you've cut out some of the images from the paper, right?
Right. And stuck them up there at the top with a little part of that. I love that. That grosgrain is just, that color is perfect.
And I also, and this is simple. Just tie a knot, cut the ends in a V, and you're good to go. So beautifully done. And you can also use them for card making, as you said. This is just using that corner treatment so effectively on the card.
Right. You know, I actually cut this out separately.
Oh.
Because I used the cutting die, our new oval, lacy oval cutting dies, to cut the hole out of the front of the card. Okay. So I first used the border art, but not the corner art. Okay. And then I cut out the corner art and set it back on top because I had that cut out to cover up just a little bit.
Then you've got a piece of acetate back here, and then this is off of the Purple Circles holographic paper. Kind of amazing.
Right.
Now, speaking of amazing and shiny, let's go back to the foil paper towel, and there is that magnificent peacock. I have to tell you, at the trade show in Las Vegas in July, this card stopped people in their tracks.
Well, it's a beautiful focal. You almost don't have to do anything else. There's just a little bit of stamping, and here's some stamping on the edge, it looks like.
Now, you're going to give us a little demo of this?
Right. I'm not going to show how to pop out that peacock because there are a lot of pieces in that paper toll, but it's just beautiful, obviously. There is a simpler one. There is, up here, there's a tag that's got a flower connected. And for all of the 3D paper toll, you just follow the numbers first. I'm going to point. The numbers are color-coded. So with the one that I'm starting with, the number 1 is here, and it's in green, so that you can see it. So you'll find a number 1 elsewhere, but that's in teal, so you don't want to work with that one. You're going to work just with the green. So I've got...
And it tells you this on the sheet.
And it tells you this on the sheet. The instructions are at the top. So you just pop it out. It's simple. I just want to make sure that I'm not ripping anything. So that's the first one. And then I find a number 2, which is the flower.
Then you would take this and glue this to your project. That way, it's solid and in place.
Right. Or you could foam tape it if you want a little bit of depth.
Yeah.
Then you take number 2, excuse me, and foam tape that right back on top of the same artwork.
Right.
And number 3, and you do the same thing. Foam tape that right on top of that.
And that little tag can be used on a card like so. And this is also with the Simply Susan paper. The stamping that you're seeing, there is a coordinating stamp set. We're going to show that later in a different webisode, but it too is named Simply Susan.
Right.
And this is the third element out of that foil sheet.
Right.
And
off to the side here.
Yeah, and I just put it on a card. Basically, I was teaching a class, and I wanted to use all 3 of them, but I wanted to do it in a similar manner onto the cards, just to show the variety of things you can get out of the one sheet. But you can see how they really pop on the colors.
But they look good on all of the colors of the paper.
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be on purple like that.
Right. Now, here is another way that you can use the Simply Susan papers. And this is fun using the design tool. You can see, and in the gallery, it will tell you which one because I don't remember.
I don't recall either. But this is also part of the design tool. Right. You can trace and cut out the little flowers, and these are matted on black cardstock.
Right. And then we've also used one of the pearl blossoms on the inside. These are self-adhesive. They're about 1 inch wide, and they come with the pearl, as you can see.
Those are really fun to use. They're a really easy, striking focal ending point for what you're doing.
The other thing is that they fit perfectly in the flattened bottle caps.
We've done that. We can see that on the Stylish Sticks and Bottle Caps webisode.
And then this is the gumdrop buttons, and you can see that they have a glitter to some of them. And so these have been threaded with very thin strips of the Simply Susan paper.
Right.
That way it looks like they're all finished.
And this is some of the Simply Susan ribbon here. Everything is just very thinly matted, and that's pretty much a hallmark of Susan right there.
Susan and Teresa are our matting experts.
Right.
And here's our final card, just to show you another way that you can mix the papers and use the paper toll so beautifully.
I like the way this is just separate pieces of paper. There's a piece here, there's a piece here. This could just be folded over because it's double-sided in that way if they were matching colors.
And this is ribbon from the set, so you've got all of that. So I think you can see why we love the Simply Susan paper, and we think Susan Cobb is pretty terrific
too. It's pretty cool.